Good morning, my friends. You are on Mav's Coffee Clarity with Denise, and we're spilling the beans every week, and this week is no different. If you found me, welcome. If you are a regular listener, welcome back. This is where I interview incredible people of all walks of life. We hear their fascinating stories, business intel, life hacks, strategies to move you forward. Listen, we record live from Ashley Falls, Sheffield, Mass, Fairfield, Connecticut, remote, and actually we come to you. We don't edit. This is real live coffee chat with a friend, my friends. Today, I am so excited to introduce you to another fascinating person that started off in fine arts, moved to design, construction, and has landed in an executive position as a community advocate. Welcome to the show, Betsy Andrus. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for coming on the Coffee Clarity.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Well, offline, we talked about your fascinating career, your journey. The one thing that I admire about you is that you have done so much with your life and you seem so calm.
Oh, good.
Well, and you seem so put together.
Wow.
And so creative. Now, I've actually been to a few of Betsy's functions, and her creativity would rival Martha Stewart, okay? Martha might be cowering in the corner if she went to Betsy's events. So let's start off, Betsy. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where did you start? Because the goal of our show is to let our listeners take a look at your journey so that they feel inspired to do whatever they're doing.
Right. Well, I mean, like most young adults sitting in, I guess, high school, I really had no idea what I wanted to do. It's a tough thing to answer. What would you like to do in your profession?
Yeah, at 17.
Yeah, at 17, I really didn't know. So I knew for sure that I loved art.
Oh.
I think that's how you and I really got to know each other. And so I decided, well, I'll go to college for art. So I got my original degree in fine arts. And then I realized...
Were the plethora of job opportunities falling at your feet at that time?
That was the problem. So I'm like, wow, that didn't work out so good. But, had fun doing it.
Yeah.
So I went back to college and I got a certificate in architecture.
Oh, I didn't know that about you.
Right. So...
Boom, that's a spill the bean.
That's a spill the bean. So that was fun again, and now what do I do with it? So I had an opportunity to go live in Hawaii.
Wow.
Right. So first I lived in Boston, and this particular college I went to, you had to have a internship while you were going to college. So I did. I worked for a design company in Boston, doing kitchens and baths. So when I moved to Hawaii, I thought, well, this is already where I'm at. I might as well see if I can get a job with that. And I did. Spent a year and a half living in Hawaii and decided I really wanted to move back to the Berkshires.
Why? Wait, you wanted to come back? And for what reason? To shovel snow?
I know. It's a lifelong passion.
Yeah, exactly.
No, my whole family was here. I'm a fourth generation person in the Berkshires. Mm-hmm. And I miss them desperately.
Okay.
And I wanted to get married and start a family. And I really...
So all the bells were ringing.
All the bells were ringing. Yeah. I couldn't think of doing it anywhere else but in the Berkshires.
Oh.
So...
big plug to the Berkshires for sure.
Right. Well, we all know how great it is.
Absolutely.
So we moved back and got married. And my parents owned a plumbing and heating and electrical wholesale house.
So you came out of an entrepreneurial environment.
I did. All my family was in construction, electrical engineers, heating and cooling, construction itself. They were all in it. And that's how my dad got to the point where he decided to open this wholesale house because at the time there was nothing like it in the area.
Okay. Wholesale house for what? Plumbing supplies?
Plumbing, heating, electrical.
Okay.
So
some innovation there,
some
creativity.
Innovation, absolutely. Yeah. And at the time, this is the 80s, and there was no real showrooms per se. Mm-hmm. But showrooms were just starting to become the thing. Mm-hmm. So my dad said, all right, this is it. It's time to come home. It's time to get serious. We need to set up showrooms for the business. you're going to have to do this. We put you through college.
Let me stronghold you just one last time.
So I did. I came back and we set up showrooms in Pittsfield and in Great Barrington. They're still going, but they're owned by, I'm not even sure what company owns them now. But so that was, 20 years of my life, helping people select their kitchens and their bathrooms. And
well, you guys, you haven't seen Betsy's kitchen, but it's just, again, let me not, channel Martha and say she'd be cowering in her kitchen if she was in Betsy's kitchen.
She's going to come looking for me now.
I know, right? We're not going to hashtag her. Don't worry.
So I did that. And my parents were getting out of the business. And, after 20 years, it weighs on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, no, I know. I've been in businesses for 20 years. I understand.
You're looking for a little change. So I kind of went into property management, staging, reorganizing people's homes and offices. If somebody had passed away, I would help facilitate cleaning out homes. I got into that side of it. And I liked it because it was a little different every day.
So I have this question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on this magic carpet with you flying through this journey right now,
Mm-hmm.
and you're making it seem effortless and easy. And what I do know from many of my clients is they get stuck. They get stuck and they can't make a move. They get afraid to transform, whether it be for money, relationships. You seem to have a very growth mindset. Unless, I'd like to know what part of your personality trait just allows you to flow so that someone else can open their door.
Well, I think definitely for me, it is the love of doing something.
So you like to be engaged.
Right. So, and to love what you are doing.
Mm.
So if you're in a job and every day it is a struggle to get yourself there, you must have an interest somewhere else.
Excellent. There was a big spill the bean, my friends.
Right. So
right. Be aware
of
the
that,
struggle.
Whether let's say you're working in finance and you just really, it's not your thing. It just, it's some people's things. It's not your thing. But every day when you go to the grocery store, you notice flower arrangements and you're like, those are just so gorgeous. I would love to work with flowers. If that is something that keeps hitting you over and over again, it might be time for you to look into a different direction.
Mm. Okay. Great. Excellent life hack. I'm going to put that in the show notes.
Right. So, when I had gotten to the point in the showrooms where I was just, I think I'm at the end of my.
You kind of know. You have the feeling.
Know.
Yeah.
I still loved working with people on homes. I loved coming into a total disaster of a house or a room and looking at it and saying, I absolutely can reorganize this. I absolutely can make it look phenomenal. I love the process, pull everything out, separate everything out, figure out what's going back in, figure out what needs to be fixed while everything is out, put it all back in, or put what you want back in. And even right down to, this should go to Goodwill. This should be auctioned off. This should be given to a friend.
I'm sure there's 500 people listening going, oh, yeah, no, I need that service tomorrow.
I know.
So you're doing that.
I was doing that, and because I was so connected with the community through my great-grandfather, my grandfather, my parents,
Fourth generation.
Right.
Right.
And it just had been my community forever and ever. A million crazy stories with that. I decided I really would love to do something other than just volunteering once in a while or donating to somewhere. I would like to do something
for your community.
So at that time, they were advertising for people that would like to volunteer for 2.5 years to organize the 250th celebration for Great Barrington.
Great Barrington, Mass, here in the Berkshires. Yeah, phenomenal.
And so I said, well, that would be total fun. And so you had to put forward a resume and a cover letter as to why you would like to be a part of this committee. So I did, and I was accepted. We went to the first meeting, and of course, the first order of business was we have to select officers for this to head up this group. So, those times you should keep your mouth closed and you don't.
Well, that would probably be me most of the days, but no, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, nobody put their hand up, and so eventually, in the quietness, I said, "Well, I think Ed McCormick should do it because he has a secretary."
You volunteered him?
I volunteered him, and that was a mistake because he said, "Well, I'll only do it if she's the co-chair." Oh. So Ed McCormick and myself were co-chairs. It was a great celebration year. It was 26 events of all different styles, you name it, parades, and it just was everything. And it culminated with the holiday stroll, which was in conjunction with the Chamber of Commerce. And they asked me to do a few things as a part of that event. And when I did, my OCD kicked in. Mm. And the people
I can't imagine you have that because you're so calm. Okay, but all right.
The people that had put the event together did a phenomenal job. And they were very artistic, and the stuff that they created was great, super cute, great for families, great for the community. But organization was not really their strong point, let's just say. So
I think we need to teach a course or have a podcast just on that, because so many people could benefit from being more organized, right?
Right. So, they handed me a bunch of material and they said, "Here, could you deal with this and print this off?" And I said, "Sure." So I looked at it and I said, "I can't leave it like this. I have to fix it." So I did. And I went back and I said, "I'm really sorry, but I altered everything and I made a true kind of programmed piece."
Not that I want to say you handed me dog nuggets, but you handed me dog nuggets.
And everybody loved it. They're like, "Oh my God, this is great. It's really understandable. I can see where I'm supposed to go at what time. That's great. Could you print that?" And I said, "Yeah." And I said, "Should I run it by the executive director of the chamber since this is their event?" And they said, "Well, unfortunately, she's leaving the chamber."
Wow.
And we're looking for somebody new.
So it was serendipitous as well.
Well, I said, "Okay, that's great." And I walked away. And we had the holiday stroll. That was our last event for the 250th celebrations. I went home. I took a couple of days off because I was really pretty tired. I was sitting there in my pajamas, and somebody called and said, "Hey, we've talked about it.
We've been talking behind closed doors.
And you would be a perfect executive director for the chamber, and we would like to interview you." And I said, "Oh, that's really
You said,
sweet.
Can I come now in my fluffy pajamas and bunny slippers?"
I said, "That's really sweet, but I don't even know if I'm looking for a job." and I haven't written a resume in 30 years. So, but thank you. I'll think about it. And then they called back and said, "Well, we're going to interview tomorrow at 10. And I said,
We take a little break right now to give a shout out to one of our marquee sponsors for this episode of Mavs Coffee Clarity, Troy Fine Art Services. Visit troyfineart.com to learn more about the fine art restoration services Troy Amuso provides, with a specialty in oil paintings and sculpture. You know what I love about art? Almost everything. Because I know it creates such a positive dialogue in almost any environment. I always say, start with art. It creates a better day. And if you work with Troy at Troy Fine Art Services, you will not only preserve and conserve your fine art, but you'll pass it on for legacies to come. From fine art museums to private collectors and just people at large that really want to keep something in their family. Visit troyfineart.com and see how his services may work for you. Thanks so much, Troy. All right, back to the show.
So I said, "Okay, well, all right, I'll go." So I went, and it was a little intimidating. I was sitting there before the board of the chamber, and they were asking me questions, and I answered what I felt, and they called up and said, you have the job. I wasn't quite sure what that really meant.
Did they even give a salary, or they're just you have the job?
They did give a salary, and and they talked a little bit about what was expected, and they handed me a few pieces of paper, and I thought, okay, all right, okay. So I went in.
How many years ago was this?
That was in January 2nd of 2012.
So we're talking 12 years ago at this point. So you've had a fascinating career of 4 decades, thereabouts,
Right.
three and a half.
Right.
And what I hear is like somebody that graced every opportunity like it was a subtle wave, not like it was a tidal wave. So what is it that makes that possible for someone like you? Are you going to say it was chance coincidence, having community connections, being in the right place, the right time, fostering, like, again, because the audience tends to listen in for inspiration. They're all doing their thing. And I also say in this show, like, nobody's broke. We don't need to be fixed. Wherever we are, we're fine.
Right.
But we learn from other people's examples. So
Right.
what would be, how did you do this? Because you're painting this beautiful portrait of something that seemed like it had no problems. You had no problems?
You know, like everybody, I've had problems. There's nobody in life that doesn't have some issues. You know, it doesn't matter what part of my life you select. There's certainly been problems and things I've had to overcome. But I think the thing that helps me is an amazing support system.
And what does that look like? Because that's really important, especially this time of the year during holidays when
Right.
people get so verklempt.
Well, not only, having my family here, even though people have certainly passed on from my family, having them here, it just gives you a feeling of comfort and a feeling that you have somebody that has your back. You know?
Is that easier said than done?
I think it is. I think I'm just truly lucky in that respect.
You're blessed.
I am blessed.
You're blessed.
But and I say that every day.
But what if you
We're so
weren't?
lucky?
What would you say to somebody that
Well-
would say, "Oh, I'm not blessed, Betsy. You're just really lucky, and I'm not."
On top of that, you have to make. It's not just my family that backs me and supports me. It's the community. It's this group of friends and neighbors and business acquaintances that I feel really confident that if I contact them and say, hey, listen, I'm in a real big pinch. Is there anything you can do to help me with whatever it may be? I feel pretty confident that they would absolutely say yes. And, or I can help you this way. I can't help you that way.
So I work with all ages in my consulting practice, and not that Ava, my daughter, is my client, but I'm sure, we both raise children. Teaching them that empathy, reciprocity is a two-way street. And you don't just do something to get something.
Right.
You have to do it from your heart and know that it hopefully will come back to you next year, 10 years, 100 years. Right. It's part of your emotional and spiritual fabric, right?
Absolutely.
And you've got to role model that behavior 24/7. And that's why I'm so excited you're on the show, because you do that so effortlessly. I think people think it's just some magic, but it's really, you've been fostered by great friends and family, clearly. But how do you teach that to others? Because we're all employing people.
It is hard, and sometimes it almost is a slap in the face experience for them, because
oh, that's very well put.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's kind of sad, because I think in today's world we feel like everything should be instant and everything should just be given to us. And if I see it on television, why can't I have it that way? Or I saw it in a movie, and I want my life to be like that. And that's great. You probably can have a life like that, but you yourself have to put a lot back into it.
Right.
So where I say that my community supports me and my family supports me, on the other hand, I do so much for the community, and I'm not going to list it because it's just a part of who I am. I don't want, I stand in the background. Half the time I don't want people to know I'm doing it.
Right.
Because I'm not doing it for to be acknowledged. I don't have a checkbook, a scorecard saying, well, I helped this person 3 times. They better help me.
Right.
I don't want that. That's life's too short for that. But I want to know they're there when I call them.
Right. That's a soft skill. Like, some of us are born with those innate soft skills, and some of those need to be trained. So I do a lot of sales workshopping and training, and I find like that's the hardest concept to train. Well, I'm going to do that for you, but what's in it for me? And I say, this is so far from the truth.
Yep.
And it needs to become more about like leaving your ego at the door and all the benefits that you seek, and really My grandmother would say it all the time. If you want to be a success, make someone else a success.
Yep.
And do not necessarily feed a man a fish, just teach him how to fish.
Right.
Be there relentlessly. That's so, I can honestly say, being relatively new back to the Berkshires, the one greatest thing that I found is the sense of community. Truly the sense of community, very authentic, like people just willing to help. Yep. All angles, not only in business, all angles, and truly at the chamber. I've told you that on and offline. The chamber, when we go to the events, it's just people that are there to listen, to laugh. Yes, if they can help you, they will, certainly. But it does feel like a warm sense of community. And dare I say the word old-fashioned, when somebody will say something crazy to me like, oh, that's such not the contemporary. Yeah, but it's important.
Right.
In the same way, actually writing a handwritten thank you note is important, right? Some of these tried and true things that show integrity, honesty, respect. So now we're up to the chamber, which is really where I have really met you and found all of your talents and the talents of your team and the community. So tell us a little bit about the Berkshires and what's happening here in the community from your eyes and what the chamber is doing to foster.
Well, I think we all know that through unfortunate situations like 9/11 and COVID, people have searched the country and or the world to find a place where they have a feeling of comfort and security and health and wellness and belonging. And the Berkshires repetitively has come to light for people. So people of all walks of life have found themselves desperately trying to get to the Berkshires, which is something the locals already kind of knew. So we know that the community as a whole just gives off that aura or that persona. And it is because we have so many great people that just have a real sense of belonging and a sense of community. So, that's what I see drives people here and keeps people here. The positive thing about that, I mean, it's good and bad. You have both sides of the nickel. So you have great people that come to the area and say, this is where I want to be. I feel so good here. I feel healthy. I feel happy. I want to stay. Some of those people are so gifted, so intelligent, so talented, and they want to get involved in the community. So they want to give back to the community. So they share their art, they share their music, they share their time, they share their knowledge. We have people that gather together to help people do their taxes, people that can't afford to hire an accountant. That doesn't happen all over the country. That doesn't happen all over the world. It's just retired accountants. Here, I'm going to help. I'm sure that's super busy for them. Right. And they're supposed to be retired, but they do it. And there's so many people that need that help. So we just have this community that is constantly giving in every different way possible. And that feeling comes out for anybody that comes to visit, on top of just the natural beauty and the places to hike and the places to visit.
The waterfalls, the hiking, the food, the art, the creativity, your shop and stroll, which, we'll get into in 1 second. But I want to give a little shout out to the Southern Berkshire, am I going to say it right? Southern Berkshire Chamber of Commerce. And we're going to give you all the details in the show notes, and we'll give you the website shortly. Again, very reasonable to join, power-packed with activities, promoting their members without over-promoting. And I can't say enough, I've been involved in a number of chambers in my day, that and I think it's because of your leadership. So let's skip on over to leadership, because a lot of people think they're leaders and they want to be leaders, want to be leaders, right. Or they know they're probably getting feedback from their team that they need to maybe up their game. And reskilling is a very important thing in our world right now. Yep. And it's not only learning AI and how to, better use an app or your computer. It's reskilling on some of the soft skills. Right. So you're a great leader. People magnetize to you.
Oh, thank you.
Magnetize. I'm saying magnetize, except for Martha. She ran away. I saw her running down the road. I'm just kidding, Martha. Please We're not going to hashtag her. Tell me what it is for people that are trying to be leaders in their fourth decade of life and they feel outdated. You're not outdated. I'm not outdated because we've clearly told everyone we're 29. Don't mess with that number.
That's right.
But what are we doing?
I have a feeling that as I look at it, it doesn't matter if it's an event, a large event, a small event, or just tackling a product that we're doing at the chamber. I look at it and I say, how do I get people invested in this particular item? If people are invested, then they're excited to be there.
Mm-hmm.
They're excited to take their part on and to complete it the best they can.
Mm-hmm. They're
excited to put energy into it. Because no person can do this stuff alone. I certainly cannot. You need people that are really knowledgeable in whatever area they choose. And it doesn't mean they have to be a rocket science to complete whatever task you give them. Most of the time, it just means that it's a passion of theirs, or they really believe in the organization, or they really love to do such and such, whatever it may be. Once people are invested in something, you can really get them to commit to what it is you're doing. So I know you don't have like magic glitter dust you sprinkle on them. No.
What's the leadership that you employ to get the magnetism rolling?
Right. We all know that the buck has to stop somewhere. We all know that there has to be one person that kind of orchestrates everything, because if there's not, then it just is kind of everybody's doing their own thing, and how do you pull that together? So if the person that is the head that is organizing everything just solely kind of does a check-in, not a nope, change that, do this, or not a we'd like to see it done a different way. It's, how would you like to see this? Great. How did you accomplish it? And are you ready for this?
And we got to take a pause there. That is exceptionally great advice. Right. It's taking a look at the person with a released voice of judgment. Oh, because we all have our own voice of judgment. Right. We can't. I mean, it's human nature, but going at it from what would you say? Now, proactive is overused. Is it a respect? Is it definitely a curious eye? Is it a curious eye really wanting to know what they did? And how did you come up with that? And I'm sure it works because I see you in action.
I think I've just always done it that way. Mm-hmm. I don't even really know how I started doing it. I think maybe 20 years ago when my kids were in school, and I again, silly, I opened my mouth and volunteered to run the holiday bazaar. Because at the time it was run by women who were getting older, and it was too much for them. Mm. And so I offered to orchestrate. And the first thing I realized is the school itself, the students themselves, had no interest in the bazaar. There was no stake for them. They weren't a part of it. They didn't have anything exciting other than just to go and to see people they know. There was nothing that they were a part of, which to me was wrong.
Right.
So the first thing we did is we went and said, okay, we'll run the bazaar, but we want each class to make a craft that then will be sold at the bazaar. We also want each classroom to take a part in the bazaar. And then it ended up, over the years, it grew so big that each classroom also had to move their desks right before we set up for the bazaar into one room so that we could use every room in the school. And the kids would get just so excited about it because they knew, okay, in a little while we're going to move our desk, and then we're going to set up for the bazaar, and then the next day we're going to come back with my parents, and I'm going to buy my craft, and my parents are going to help with such and such, and this is going to be so much fun.
Well, what I hear there is you made everybody feel part.
Yeah.
You gave everybody accountability without dictating.
Right.
And that is sort of your magic sauce.
Yeah, I think
that's
so.
That's your spill the bean right there. So, okay, tell us what's happening at the chamber. That everybody, this is somewhat of our early holiday news.
Right.
because I will tell you, my husband Troy, he's particular, in his art restoration business. It's a hard guy to really pique his attention. The one time we went to the holiday stroll, he was like, "Clear the decks. We're going this year. What day is it?" I'm like, "It's the 9th. Calm down." I have never seen him I don't know. It was fantastic, but I won't do it as much justice as you will. What is the holiday stroll? It's coming up.
Okay, so the holiday stroll is basically a large community event. Mm-hmm. It is, from the standpoint of the chamber, meant to enhance commerce. But we find that because there's so much activity that people don't always shop at that time. Mm-hmm. They take time to peruse and look, and they might come back without the kids or without their husband, mm-hmm. which is fine also. We mm-hmm. just want to get you in and out of the stores and around town and to enjoy yourself. So when I took over the stroll, first year I just mimicked what they did. The second year I realized, okay, we have to have more buy-in by the community. Again, same thing. How do we get everybody to buy in? Mm-hmm. So over the years we've progressed to, the first thing I said is, whenever I have taken my family to a fair or anything, sometimes I feel like I'm bleeding money. I mean, it's so expensive to take a family out nowadays. Right. So I said,
because the sodas are like $12 in the plastic cup that wrecks the universe.
I know. Mm. So I said immediately, I think the second year into it, we need to come up with a way where every activity is free. So
I mean, just listen to that, everyone. Every activity is free. Right. I mean, incredible, Betsy. Right. It's unheard of.
It just releases a barrier that might be there for some families.
Absolutely.
It just gets it out of the way.
It gets it out of the way.
So
we are about releasing barriers here on Spilling the Beans. Right. Let's just knock it out of the park.
Right. And we try. We are not perfect because we are in a very old town. We try for every activity also to be ADA applied, so that
wheelchair compliant, disability. Mm-hmm.
And now, like I said, we are in a very old town, and unfortunately, I think we have 2 activities where it would not apply. And okay, we apologize. We wish
2 out of 100. We're doing pretty good.
We wish we could. So, what we decided was, we started off the easy way. We went to companies for sponsorship, and we said, if you would sponsor this, it will cover the cost of the activity, so that no family will have to pay. Mm-hmm. That was an easy sell. I mean, right away you have, Lee Bank and MBT Bank and Pittsfield Cooperative Bank and all of those entities that are like, absolutely, community event, we're there. Here's the money, Then we realized we wanted to grow from that also. So now we're up to 28 free activities. I don't think you could do them all at the time of the stroll, but what you want to do is select the ones that are right for you and get your family there or get yourself there.
Oh, well, we're going. I think I'm taking a half a day off of work, which is unheard of for us, and we're going.
Good. So we have achieved either through swapping or through bartering or through sponsorship, these 28 activities all being free. We have...
Just give me an example so the audience can hear.
Well, for this year, we have ice sculpting.
Ice sculpting.
Out in front of Pittsfield Cooperative Bank, and they are sponsoring it and paying for it, of course. The Mehewi has decided to play a classic Mickey's Christmas Carol, which goes
that's great.
26 minutes. So they will play it every half hour on a loop. Families can just go in and watch a portion of it or watch the whole thing and then go back out. They can use the restroom, get warmed up, what.
Wonderful.
Then there's things like balloon characters. Kids can wait in line, just have a balloon bend, make them a balloon character, and they're all set. There's face painting. There's kids crafts. Kids games.
The hay rides. Wow.
We have adult reading.
Now, do you allow everyone from outside of Great Barrington?
Absolutely.
So Berkshire County can come.
Everybody
can come.
Yeah.
And what is your goal with this, not only this year, but for the future as it grows?
Well, we hope it will grow. I think it's getting to a point now where it's almost a little too big for just the time frame we have. So we might have to consider either longer hours or
2 days.
2 days.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this is, where can we find out about it? What's the website?
It's southernberkshire.chamber.com, or you can visit us on Facebook, obviously, Southern Berkshire Chamber. If you have a question about the stroll, we are happy to have you call our office, 413-528-4284.
413-528-4284. And I will put this out on our social as well. So as we wind down the show today, what's the 1 or 2 life or business hacks you want to leave the audience with?
Get invested in your community. And that means you get invested in your community, and you will be surprised what you'll get back. And if you are somebody creating something or an event or a new business, give people a stake in the creation and the everyday execution. Give them a feeling that they are needed there, so that you can then rely on them.
Well, thank you, Betsy. It has been my pleasure having you here today.
Thank you.
Listen, my friends, you've been on Mavs Coffee Clarity. Mavs Coffee Clarity with Denise and Betsy Andrus. We've just spilt the beans. I hope that helps you move forward. If you like it and share it, we are going to acknowledge you on our next show. Okay, pass it along, my friends, and I will see you at the holiday stroll. And yes, shameless plug for Betsy, join the chamber. All right, peace out. Mav's got to get back to work, my friends.